One of the ways we can lose the electric grid is by an EMP attack, which is what this short video will discuss. You'll notice my Jeep loses power and I coasted off to the side of the road, as well as another traveler that is coming towards me. Even if only half our modern cars were affected by an EMP, that is still going to cause an incredible amount of accidents and disabled vehicles blocking traffic, especially in the inner city locations. If you did still have a running vehicle, you'll likely get boxed in at some point and be forced to abandon it. Be prepared to walk home and bug out on foot. You'll notice that one of the first things I do after my Jeep died was check my phone. The chances of both vehicles dying at the same time and my phone not functioning was overwhelming evidence that we likely experienced an EMP attack. This is not the time to freak out. You need to stay calm and keep your wits about you. You'll likely have other loved ones depending on you to get home and help them along to your survival retreat location, so stay focused. The first thing I do is rummage through my glove compartment and center console to see if there's anything there I'm going to need down the road. You'll see I grabbed my spare magazine for my pistol and found a spare flashlight, as well as a few other miscellaneous items that may come in useful down the road. It's important that you have a get-home bag in your vehicle in case you are forced to walk home on foot. Not just for an EMP attack, but there are lots of scenarios like a natural disaster of some type, where you could get stranded somewhere and need some basic survival supplies to get home or help get you out of Dodge. You'll want this bag to be as lean and mean as possible. I know a lot of people whose get-home bag looks more like a lone wolf pack with everything in the kitchen sink in it. If you have a normal commute to work and you can walk home in less than a day, there's no need to carry all that weight home with you. One of the most important things to keep in your vehicle, though, is a jug of water. I also highly recommend having a Camelback bladder in your pack as opposed to regular canteens or water bottles, which makes it a lot easier to stay hydrated on your walk home. If you do end up dehydrated by the time you walk through the front door to your house, you're going to be hating life the next day as you are forced to head out on your long walk to your bug out location. Starting your bug out dehydrated is seriously going to compromise your ability to stay motivated, function at peak efficiency, all while staying focused on your surroundings. Another very important item is proper footwear. The last thing you'll want to do is walk home in an uncomfortable pair of shoes. Keep a pair of sneakers in your car during the summer and a pair of comfortable snow boots for the winter. Along with proper footwear, it's important to have a waterproof jacket or coat appropriate for whatever time of year you're currently in. Make sure you also have the 5 core bug out bag essentials that I discuss in the DVD. You'll need a water purification kit, a fire kit, a knife of some sort, a flashlight, as well as an MRE or two and some snacks to keep your energy up. I also carry my universal accessory patch, which I discuss in detail on the DVD, that has some small items like TP wipes, an emergency blanket, some pain medicine, things of that nature. Another common thing I see is people carrying battle rifles around in their vehicle or get-home bag. That's just an extra 10 pounds you're going to have to carry home, and it'll bring you a lot of unwanted attention on your walk. Even if you live in the city, it'll be at least 24 hours before things start to fall apart. No one is starving or desperate yet. No one's going to be setting ambushes on day one. Having your EDC pistol and a spare mag is plenty for the first 24 hours after a societal breakdown scenario. Even if you did come across some looting and rioting, just avoid them as best as possible. In the Survival Bug Out DVD and my preparedness guide, Survival Theory, I stress emphatically how you'll want to avoid getting into discussions with other travelers. This advice is mainly for after day 2 or 3. It is perfectly normal to have brief conversations with other travelers on day 1, as most people are going to be confused and unsure of what has just transpired. In my first book, the main character actually pulls his co-workers into the conference room and spends 10 minutes explaining to them what is actually going on and pleading with them to flee the big city. It's only natural to want to help those people around you. However, you want to keep those discussions brief. Your ultimate goal on day 1 is to get home to your family and get them out of town and to safety as quickly as possible. Again, I am describing the worst case scenario where your car breaks down or gets boxed in on your drive home from work and you're forced to walk the rest of the way. If you had a running vehicle in this situation and were able to drive it home, you'd want to do so immediately without passing go or collecting $200. If you live in the city or suburbs and have a running vehicle in this scenario, you must race home, grab your family, your gear, and immediately flee the city. Every hour that goes by after an EMP attack, you risk getting trapped in a traffic jam of cars fleeing the city. This is why it's so important to have your family's bug-out bags packed and ready to go at a moment's notice. So to recap, if you have a running vehicle after an EMP attack, get home immediately and get out of town as quickly as possible. If you are forced to walk home and bug out on foot, my advice is to actually spend the rest of day one bartering with local shop owners for things you may need or items you never got around to purchasing beforehand. Some mom and pop stores in town may still be open for business and accepting cash. This is why it's so important to keep cash in a safe or hidden somewhere in your home. The first and most important thing you'll want to consider is where your children and other family members are. You'll need to decide based on who works closer to their school, who's going to pick up which child on your walk home. Having this game plan beforehand will eliminate a lot of stress and confusion, as you'll know exactly where your children are and that they're being taken care of. If there is anything specific you need to get from a store, you'll likely want to try and acquire it on your walk home. The more time passes without electricity, more and more stores will close their doors for business. The most important consideration for your walk or drive home is going to be prescription drugs. If you or a family member need a certain prescription like insulin to survive, you must make that your number one priority. If you wait too long to acquire the drug you need for your survival, it could be a fatal mistake, as most drugstores are going to be ransacked by addicts as soon as they figure out the law and order is broken down.